Hi guys, this is a hopefully a short video just to introduce a concept which kind of sorts out some of the issue we have with sticking guttering onto a polytunnel. There's quite a few videos on YouTube, on the internet, which I've googled, which have various ideas. One is certainly to do with using lots of double-sided waterproof sticky tape and lengths of polythene strips to sort of stick to the outside of the tunnel and then come down into your guttering. There's a reason for that, because a lot of people are mentioning the fact that the polythene bows inwards slightly between the vertical support struts on the polytunnel, which means you can't get that straight edge outside the tunnel to put your guttering on to make a nice watertight seal. Here's an idea, which is probably not my idea at all, but it's going to work for me, I believe, and I'll just explain roughly speaking what I've done, so feel free to have a go yourselves. And it actually fits for any size tunnel, be it this is a 6 metre long tunnel by 3 metres, or your shorter 2 metre, 3 metre tunnels. It doesn't really matter, but we'll explain it as we go along. Rightio, what have I done? We take the bows out of the polythene. The quite simple answer to that is to have, and this is 6 metre long tunnel as I said, so it's got 2 3 metre battens either side, which are attached to the polytunnel about 3 feet off the ground. That kind of depends on where your water butts are outside and how high they are. You could also bury them in the ground, as I've done, from about 6 inches to a foot, so they're lower down, which means you can put these battens further down the tunnel. The batten system works whether you've got, as I have, the horizontal metal tubing along the tunnel, which comes with the frame, or if you haven't got those, you've just got the verticals, then it can still work by attaching them anywhere you wish to up and down the vertical beams. Right, so what we've got is the wooden battens. As I said, this is pieces of 2x1 timber. They've been attached by, in this case, wire, which is quite ready, easy to do, nice, quick and easy. However, you could use U-brackets, which you can get from a hardware shop, to screw onto the battens around the poles, which means you can put them anywhere up or down the pole you wish to. It obviously needs to be relatively horizontal, although there needs to be also a bit of a fall from the top of the tunnel there down to where your water butts are, so the water runs out the guttering. On the other side of the tunnel, I've used slightly different timber. What I've used for that is this stuff, which is sort of fence capping rails, which is a nice U shape. There's a reason I've used that, as you'll see, because what you do next, having attached your battens, and obviously the battens, I start at the bottom, slide them up into position, so you feed them around the poles, outside the poles, between that and the polythene. It's quite a snug fit. Bring them up carefully without ripping the polythene, obviously, to the height you wish, nice and horizontal, and then wire them on. The insulation I mentioned there in that picture, as you see in the fence rails, sits nicely inside the U shape, and that's because I then pop it inside the wooden battens, between the battens and the polythene. That stops polythene chafing, also makes the polythene tighter, and it also creates even a greater nice straight edge against the polythene for future use, as we'll see outside. Okay, so don't be afraid to try this system as well. The main thing is to make sure there's no screws and bolts, which is not in this idea at all, anywhere near the polythene, because you want to protect it as much as you can. Whilst we're here, I've also used the same pipe lagging, this 15mm pipe lagging. It's about £1 a metre, roughly speaking. Okay, I've used that to put around the poles on the polytunnel. It also protects the polythene in the heat, and also stops chafing and rubbing in windy conditions, just as an idea. Anyhow, we'll pop outside now quickly and see what I've done there. One last look inside the tunnel, and you'll see the rails there attached nicely. Outside we have a couple of water butts, mine's 6 inches in the ground, just so it's slightly lower. There's the guttering, and it runs, as you can see, along the full length of the tunnel. I've used square guttering. There's a reason for that, because the square guttering has, rather than the curved stuff, has this straight edge here, which sits nicely against the polythene. Okay, what I've done then, and we'll keep this short and sweet, is just go down this end here so you can see what I'm going to talk about. Is you need to obviously put the guttering on some struts or battens. So I've used a bit of 2x1. It's not particularly heavy, obviously, the guttering, so it's just there to sort of keep it in position up and down the tunnel at the correct height. And note, I put it about 2 inches or so, 2 inches below the actual rails out inside the tunnel. There's a reason for that, because the polythene then bends down over your foam inside, down nice and tight. It's also nice and straight, which means your guttering can sit tight against it. To get your guttering tight against the plastic, the idea is you take the guttering away first of all. You don't need that. Initially you bang your battens in the ground. I used a mallet so you're going to protect it in case it hits the polythene. Bang the battens in the ground tight against the plastic as close as you can get. I've also got diagonals here which I'll put on later just to push this batten closer in towards the polythene. That increases the tightness that the gutter is against the actual polythene. Once your battens are in, put your guttering on top. Might be a two-person job. And before you screw it's just screwed on. Before you screw your guttering on, you pull the batten against the pressure of it being in the ground, away from the plastic as much as you can. Okay, and then as you can see, you whip a screw in quickly, as tight as you can get it. When you let the batten go, having pulled it out, let the batten go, it springs back towards the polythene, and that increases the water tightness that you have. And just note, there's absolutely no gap there at all between the plastic guttering and that nice flat surface and the polythene. Okay, guaranteed that's going to collect every drop of water running off this roof into the gutter. As you can see, it runs downhill. You won't get a perfect seal. Some cases like here where the joins are between the tubing, there's a slight hole, but you can excuse that quite happily. And that's it. And then final job is just to go along, really, once you've got it fairly tight, is to put these in. And these just push in these battens against the polythene and the gutter against the polythene even more so. What I've done inside on the other side of the tunnel is, I'll just show this quickly, it's a bit more pipe lagging if need be. It's just an idea. You can actually put that over the edge of the guttering. It does produce a bit of a ridge, but the water can skip over that, and that will keep the gutter, if you're afraid of it rubbing or chafing the actual plastic in windy conditions, it can keep it away from the actual plastic a little bit, but it will still collect the water over that. Anyhow, all we need now is some rain.